Back before the launch of the Twin Turbo Vise, when it was still in the design phase and I was working out the gear train and vise body dimensions, I knew that I would have customers who would want to use the 20-inch Twin Turbo Vise as an end vise on a 24-inch wide bench. That's a pretty common dimension. Now, getting a geared twin screw vise with screw space 20-inch on center to fit a 24-inch wide bench was tricky, and even after my best design efforts, the job build is a bit more complicated than it would be otherwise. But I figured at some point a customer would want to do this and would need some help, and I could just make their vise and do a video to show others the build. So that's what I'm doing here. Now, as you can see with the 24-inch wide wooden jaw, it's only 1/16 of an inch wider than the metal backplate of the vise on each side. And that's not a big deal for the build if you just leave the sides open, which really isn't a problem. They're big gears, they won't really be much affected by a little bit of sawdust. But I also know that a lot of you won't like that option, and it doesn't quite look as good, so I do close the sides up in this build. Also, leave a comment if you like this bandsaw cut and find it satisfying. Now, every vise comes with the hardware needed to make two dogs that go into the jaw of the vise, so I'm cutting these 3/4 inch dados for those before gluing the top piece to the back. I always do this with the back in place to make sure the alignment is right. I am recessing the acrylic front into the vise so that it's flush. So to do this, I'm setting up my Whiteside multi-rabbet router bit set, carried by Inclined, link in description, for a 1/8 inch rabbet that I will make to the same depth as the acrylic thickness. Just a bit of chisel work on the corners for the perfect fit. Now, some of you clever folks in the audience may be concerned that if the jaw only sticks out past the metal back by 1/16 of an inch, and the acrylic requires a 1/8 inch rabbet, then clearly subtracting fractions is annoying and I should switch to metric. This isn't a problem. I can fix it on a disc sander. And there you have it, a perfect fit. Now, to close in the sides, I'm using steel because wood this thin would be fragile, and I use the same angle for these steel sides as the sides of the vise body just to pretty it up a bit. The screw retention system that takes the clamping force of the vise is a two-part nut and washer system that lock together with screws. It's very strong and very easy to install. So I cut the vise down to the size the customer needed and then build the bench dogs. So this is what it looks like when you glue the dog top offcut in upside down, and the activator has mostly set the glue up by the time you try to fix it.
Shit.
And now it's time for some precision hand plane work on the top to flush up the dogs. Now it's time for everything to come together. Just a few more details to finish up on the metal side plates, and I can attach those, and this thing will be ready to ship to the customer. So if you want to put a 20-inch twin turbo vise on a 24-inch wide bench, I can say this isn't too hard, and it looks really sharp. I was also just notified today being the 14th of October 2021, that my twin turbo vise shipment arrived, and that's really exciting because this is the first time I'm receiving a bunch of vises that haven't already sold. Some of them have, but I have a lot left, and that means if you buy now, I'll be able to ship your vise in about 10 days. That's the time I need to ship out the vises that have sold. So check that out, link in description. Thanks for watching.